Today we're going to demonstrate the safe sighting, lighting and extinguishing of a temporary fire, and we also need to think about leaving absolutely no trace to where the fire is lit. So we have here our fire circle created by 4 larger logs. These will help contain the fire, and they'll also create a fire circle so everybody knows that this is the danger area. The grass is quite dry today, so it's perfect conditions to light a fire. We have got here our water that we'll use to extinguish the fire. Behind me in my rucksack we've got burns kit and first aid kit and anything we need in the event of an emergency. I've got my gauntlet gloves here for when the fire takes, and I've also got my hair tied back so it's not in the fire, and t-shirts and everything, nothing hanging over. So to start the fire I'm going to take some fine kindling and I'm going to waffle the kindling, thinking about my fire circle, fire triangle, and thinking about how the air needs to circulate. So I'm just going to do another layer there. I'm then going to take some cotton wool and I'm going to make it nice and fluffy so we get some more air into the cotton wool. And I'm just going to place that into the centre like this. I'm then going to take a few more bits of kindling. I'm going to place them on the top. These are finer pieces because these need to take to the flame easily. Got to make sure I don't smother the fire, so don't put too much on because the air needs still to be able to circulate. So I'm going to make sure that is on like so. I'm going to use a fire steel or a flint steel or a striker, different names. These are what we use with the kids. They're very efficient at producing a lot of sparks. So we're going to start by lighting the cotton wool. That has lit the cotton wool underneath, and the oxygen will now come under the cotton wool, and that will ignite the tinder around the edges. So we can see there that we've already got quite a good flame going on there on the tinder. So at this point I'm going to put my fire gauntlets on because we do have quite a lot of activity going on there. I'm going to take some straw that I found earlier. And in the hot spot of the fire, I'm just going to place my straw. Be careful not to smother that. And the straw will ignite there. And that will just help to increase the flame. And in turn will help to set fire to the tinder underneath. Now as that is burning, the tinder is taking, I need to start thinking about the next stage now. So I need to start thinking about adding a bit of kindling. So kindling is anything pencil width or above. I'm not going to add much today because I'm going to show you how to extinguish this fire. So what we do with our kindling, we just add a tiny piece at a time. Always be aware that you don't want to smother the flame, but you do need to place it into a hot spot on the flame. Place it there. And always be aware that the flame is still burning and we don't want to smother that down, so that's plenty to go on to now. See the flame is still going in the centre of that fire. So if we were building a bigger fire, we would now think about adding more kindling to our fire and building that up into the smaller branches, then eventually up into your logs. So already I can see there we're getting quite a lot of ash in the centre, and that would be my chance now to build up the fire further. I'm going to put just a couple more pieces of kindling on there, making sure I've got my fire gauntlets on at all times. Okay, and there we have a fire that's now established, and as I add the fuel, it will continue to light. However, for this activity we're going to look now at actually extinguishing this fire and putting this out. So the trick is here not to put too much fuel on. If you put too much fuel on, it's harder to actually extinguish the fire. So we're just going to wait a couple of moments just for that flame to burn through that kindling, and then we're going to look at putting that fire out. So the best thing to do to put a fire out is to actually use some form of poker to extinguish the oxygen and get rid of the oxygen out of the tinder and break it so that it can't reignite. So using a larger log or a metal pan or whatever you may have, we're just going to very carefully we're going to start prodding the fire. And that will start to extinguish the flames slightly. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring in some water and I'm going to use the water on the outside first to create a water barrier. That will stop the fire from spreading, and then I'm very carefully just going to pop a little bit of a piece of kindling at a time. And once the flame has gone out, and then I'm going to take my stick again, and then I'm just going to give that an extra prod just to separate any embers, any ash that may still be lit. Tiny bit of water, and that is the fire now out. Now at the moment that is still on the ground, it is still there, it is visible, and this is the stage a lot of people just leave. However, in forest schools we need to completely clear it because that is just the nice thing to do. So what we do is we would pick up all of our embers, all of our wood, and we would put it back into the woodland to create new habitats. And what we would do on the grass, if it's grass that's been taken away, we need to resurface, or we need to get some more grass, and we just need to cover the area that we have just had our small temporary fire, making sure that there is absolutely no trace of a fire being here in the first place.